All right, thanks, guys. We picked up a very nice win in our board member package on Patreon. That is my website, patreon.com/BrockPage. Link for that site is in the description section below. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our Friday slate of Major League Baseball action. Happy Friday. The weekend is finally here. And just a quick recap, my birthday was on September 10th, and my wife's was on September 12th. So we are going to have an absolute banger tonight at the Gentlemen's Club with all our friends and, believe it or not, family. I know that's a little weird, but we all get well, I'm very good friends with the owner of the club. He's a big fan of premium cigars, and I always provide the goods to him. And anyway, so let's go ahead and get into our Friday slate of Major League Baseball action. All starts Eastern Standard Time. Now we're going to go ahead and begin with the Pirates taking on the Cubs. That's going to be a 4:05 Eastern first pitch at Wrigley Field in Chicago. The Cubs are minus 175, totals 9.5. 68% are leaning Chicago. And at the moment, Pittsburgh's plus 165 on the money line. We have Steven Brault for the Pirates, Big John Lester for the Cubs. Lester's 12-10 with 154 strikeouts. Brault is 4-4 with a 4.13 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. He's also walked 43 batters thus far on the year. Chicago 47-24 at Wrigley. They're first in runs allowed at home, seventh in walks allowed in that same category. The Pirates on the other side, losers in 6 out of their last 7, taking on the Cubs. They're also 26th in runs allowed, 25th in hits allowed. When it comes to the scoring, Pittsburgh 6-3 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Chicago Cubs minus 175 and the over 9.5 in that game. Next matchup, Braves Nationals 7:05 Washington. The Nats are 165, totals at 8. Not a whole lot of movement on the money line in this one. Pretty good two-way action recently. We have seen movement downward on the total, though. Washington, once again, minus 165. Total open 8.5 down to 8 flat. 65% are leaning Nationals. 67% shaded toward the under. Right now, Atlanta's plus 150 on the money line. Washington plus $1.25, laying the 1.5. We have Mike Soroka for the Braves. Max Scherzer for the Nats. Scherzer's 10-5 with a 2.36 ERA, 1.00 WHIP. He's also struck out 216 batters. The Nats are 6th in scoring, 8th in hits, first place in the wild card race in the National League. They're 3.5 games ahead of Chicago and Milwaukee. Now, the Braves on the other side, 20th in hits allowed, 24th in walks allowed on the road. When it comes to the scoring, the Nats are 6-1 to the over in their last 7 at home. I'm going to lean Washington minus 165 and the over 8 runs in that game. Next matchup, Yankees, Blue Jays, 7:07 Toronto. The Yankees are the $2 favorites, totals 10.5. We saw a 10-cent fade of New York and movement upward on the total. The Yankees open 210, down to 200, total open 10, up to 10.5. 68% are leaning Yankees, 67% shaded toward the over. Right now, Toronto's plus 180 on the money line. The Yankees minus $1.25 on the run line. We have Masahiro Tanaka for the Yankees, Anthony Kay for the Blue Jays. The Yankees are 44-29 when traveling, first in scoring, second in road hits. The Blue Jays on the other side, they rank dead last in hits on average per game. They're also 29th in walks allowed, which is second to last in Major League Baseball. They've lost 8 out of their last 10 matchups. And when it comes to the total, the Yankees are 48-25 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean Yankees minus 1.5 and the over 10.5 runs in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, I just want to take another quick timeout and just welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Friday's Major League Baseball action. But before we go ahead and proceed, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily plays on that site. We have a bunch of different memberships and packages, and they begin at just $1.99 per month. Like I said earlier, picked up a very nice win in our board member tier. And if you want to see my current record in all those different categories, that's a part of the free content. All you got to do is just click the link in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. and you can access my current record and all of those different categories. You don't even have to pay for it. I know that somebody said in the comments section earlier in the week that Brock wants you to go to his site and pay for his record. That's absolutely not true. That is not the case. You can access my record for free right there on Patreon. A lot of bad info out there, so I figured I'd clear that up for you. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive back into some more lines and personal leans for Friday's Major League Baseball action. Once again, I can't say it enough. Happy Friday. The weekend is finally here. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got a very good matchup here. The Twins taking on the Indians, 7-10 Cleveland. The Twins are $1.25, totals 9.5. 54% are leaning Cleveland, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Indians are plus $1.15 on the money line. Minnesota plus $1.30 on the run line. We have Jake Odorizzi for the Twins, Aaron Savale for the Indians. Now, Odorizzi's 14-6 with a 3.60 ERA for Minnesota. He also has a 1.23 whip and 162 strikeouts. Now, the Twins are second in road scoring, first in road hits. The Indians on the other side, 3.5 games back in Minnesota in the division, 20th in offensive hits, 20th in runs allowed at home. When it comes to the number, Cleveland's 4-1 at the over in their last 5 at Progressive Field. I'm going to lean toward the road fave in this one. Give me the Twins minus $1.25 and the over 9.5 in that matchup. Next game, Orioles, Tigers, 7-10 Detroit. The Tigers minus 110, totals 9.5. We saw a 10-cent fade of Detroit and movement downward on the total. Detroit open $1.20, down to 110. Total open 10, down to 9.5. 62% are leaning Detroit, 73% shaded toward the over. Right now, Baltimore's plus 102 on the money line. The Tigers plus $1.70, laying the run and a half. We have Aaron Brooks for the O's, Jordan Zimmerman for the Tigers. Zimmerman's 1-10 with a 6.27 ERA and a 1.43 whip. Aaron Brooks on the other side for Baltimore, 74 strikeouts on the year, just 93 innings pitched. Detroit is the worst team in Major League Baseball, just 43 and 102 on the year. That's nearly 60 games under 500. That's 59 games under 500. They're also winners in just 19 out of their last 71 at home. They rank dead last in scoring on average per game, last in offensive strikeouts. When it comes to the total, I think this one's going to go over. So I'm going to lean Baltimore plus 102 and the over 9.5 in that game. Next matchup, Dodgers, Mets, 7-10 Flushing, Queens. The Dodgers are minus 130, total 7.5. Saw nickel move toward LA, movement downward on the total. The Dodgers open $1.25, up to 130. Total open 8, down to 7.5. 56% are leaning Dodgers, 71% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Mets are plus 120 on the money line. Dodgers plus $1.40, laying the run and a half. We have Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers, Noah Syndergaard for the Mets. Syndergaard comes into this game with a 4.06 ERA, 44 walked batters. Kershaw on the other side, 13-5 on the year, 3.06 ERA, 1.05 whip. He's also struck out 171 batters. The Mets are 19th in offensive walks, 17th in hits allowed. They also rank 21st in walks allowed at home and 19th in runs allowed at home as well. Now, the Dodgers have the most wins in the National League. They're actually tied for, they're not even tied. They have the second most wins in Major League Baseball. They rank first in runs allowed, first in walks allowed. When it comes to the total, the Dodgers are 75% to the over in their last 8, taking on a member of the NL East. Meanwhile, on the Mets side of things, they're 5-1 to the over in their last 6 head-to-head matchups with the Dodgers. I'm going to lean Los Angeles minus $1.30 and the over 7.5 in that game. Next matchup, Oakland Rangers, 8:05 Texas. The A's are minus 165, totals 11. We saw a nickel fade of Oakland and movement upward on the total. The A's open $1.70, down to 165. Total open 10.5, up to 11. 70% are leaning Oakland, 52% shaded toward the under. Right now the Rangers are plus 155 on the money line. The A's minus $1.05 on the run line. We have Chris Bassett for the A's, Brock Burke for the Rangers. Bassett's 10-5 with a 3.64 ERA for Oakland. He also has a 1.20 whip and 129 strikeouts. Oakland is in first place in the AL wildcard situation. They're half a game ahead of Tampa Bay, although Tampa Bay has secured that. Well, they haven't secured it, but they are in that second wildcard spot right now. So if the season ended today, they'd be in. One more thing to add about Oakland. They are third in scoring on the road. I'm going to lean Athletics minus $1.65 and the over 11 runs in that game. Next matchup, Astros, Royals, 8:15, Kansas City, Kauffman Stadium. The Astros are minus 400. Heavy favorites in this one. Total's 8.5. We did see a little bit of movement downward on the total in this one. Once again, Houston minus 400. Total open 9 down to 8.5. 73% leaning Astros, 82% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Royals are plus 330 on the money line. Houston minus 210 on the run line. We have Garrett Cole for the Astros, Danny Duffy for the Royals. Duffy's just 6-6 on the year. He does have 98 strikeouts, though. Garrett Cole on the other side, believe it or not, he's walked 43 batters on the year. In Houston, not very good on the run line when traveling. Just 34 and 38 ATS on the road. They're also on a 3-game skid. They lost 3 straight to Oakland. Now, the Royals on the other side, a little bit different story. Winners in their last 2 straight. They're also 7-3 in their last 10. The Royals rank 11th in home hits, 4th in home offensive strikeouts. When it comes to the total, the Royals are 5-0 to the over in their last 5. 6-1 to the over in their last 7 at home, taking on the Astros. I think there's pretty good value in this price point. I'm going to lean Royals plus 1.5 in the over 8.5 in that game. Next matchup, Brewers, Cardinals, 8:15, St. Louis. The Cards are minus 125, totals at 8.